made it to the very wet Esperance. Knowing it was going to be wet for several days, I had a look online for somewhere to bunker down that was cheap enough so it wouldn't blow through my emergency budget. So, thinking outside the box, what I'd come up with is what caravans would normally use if they didn't have a bathroom in their setup. So I knew coming to Esperance that they'd have a storm come through here, probably 3 or 4 days of rain, and I was going to get the tail end of it. So I dipped into the emergency fund. Cabins here or anything in town was in the hundreds, but I came across this, which is an ensuite to camping or caravan or whatever you bring here, and it is actually big enough for me. I can sleep in the shower, it's long enough, and there's a toilet. I put the toilet seat down and I've got a seat and a table, and well within my budget. And the most important thing is I'm going to be dry. Morning. Well, it rained continuously yesterday evening, night, this morning. It's just eased up. There's a little bit of sun trying to crack through, but I'm just going to go and have a shower in the shower block because I don't want to get my bedroom wet. Not sure how many people have ever said that before. It obviously rained pretty heavy. There was a lot of standing water in the caravan park. I went out the front to check the weather, and it looked like there was a big patch of blue sky coming in after the last rain. So I thought I'd take a chance and go and check out what apparently was voted the best beach in the world, a place called Lucky Bay. I headed to Cape Legrand National Park, just east of Esperance. As I came over a hill, I saw a bay that looked idyllic, so I turned in to check it out. I pulled into Thistle, Cove. Well, I made it into the national park. This is the bay just before Lucky Bay, but it caught my eye because of some rock formations and just the white sand. And this isn't the best beach in the world. Wow, Lucky Bay must be good. How clear is that water? This is named Whistling Rock. Apparently, because of its shape and curve, it amplifies ambient sound. But I didn't hear anything. While I was riding out here, one of the screws in the side of the helmet visor must have fallen out. So it actually blew up and pulled the helmet right back. So I'm going to have to work out a solution to get back and then find a spare bolt somewhere. Actually, I've lost 2 bolts, so I'm going to have to get the electrical tape and tape it on. That solves it until I get back. After sorting the visor out, I got back on the bike and rode a short distance just over the next hill. And there it appeared, Lucky Bay. Tide's low right now, but you can see why they might call it the best beach in the world. It was named Lucky Bay by the explorer Matthew Flinders in 1802, when he sheltered from a storm, as the area is littered with reefs and small rocky islands. He pulled into the bay at about 7 p.m. and wrote in his journal, "The critical circumstances under which this place was discovered induced me to give it the name Lucky Bay." They spent 4 days in the bay. In that time, the natural historian and the botanical researcher collected 130 species. 100 of them were new to science. Remember, this is the bay after a storm and days of heavy rain. At its best, it's crystal clear water, white fluffy sand, and kangaroos on the beach. And if you're interested, this is the list of the top 50 beaches around the world that Lucky Bay came in number 1. I explored further along the dirt road that ran behind the beach for a while. But knowing that the weather wasn't going to hold on for that long, I decided to head back to check out around Esperance shoreline and to get some supplies. French explorers are credited with being the first Europeans to make the first landfall near the present-day town, naming it and other local landmarks while sheltering from a storm in this area in 1792. The town itself was named after a French ship, the Esperance. Esperance is French for hope. The area was first settled by Europeans in the 1860s. So this whole south coastline does have incredibly stunning beaches and crystal white sand once the sun's out. In the rain, not so good. But right now, it's pretty special. Esperance has the only port in the southeast of Western Australia, and it is the deepest in southern Australia. The train line that finishes at the port was built in the 1920s, initially for the wheat harvest, but now the port also exports iron ore and nickel. In a totally random side story, in 1979, pieces of the space station Skylab crashed onto Esperance. The San Francisco Examiner offered a $10,000 prize for the first piece of Skylab to be delivered to their offices, as they knew debris wasn't going to land on American soil. So they felt it was a safe bet, but they didn't count on 17-year-old Stan Thornton scooped a few pieces of Skylab off the roof of his home in Esperance, caught the first flight to San Francisco, and collected the prize. I dropped into the local bike store to see if they'd a screw to replace the ones I lost from my visor. They luckily had a couple that kind of fitted, so I put them in. Morning. Still in the ensuite shower cubicle, and I've just used the shower. Going to be leaving soon. I've been waiting all morning because the bike needs an oil change, but it is still raining and it won't let up. It's just easing off now, but I have to check out, so I'm going to have to find somewhere along the way to do an oil change on the side of the road somewhere. Oh well. I'm having fun with rain. I headed into the centre of town, picked up some oil, then fueled up and checked over my bike. And got ready for a wet ride heading west. I rode out past the train yards and past two rather large piles of wood chips. Then the skies opened up once again. It wasn't a consistent downpour, more just patches of clouds dumping. A lot of the time it was to the left or right of me, but sometimes directly over the top. I pulled over as I'd started with my normal gloves, which weren't waterproof, and my hands were getting cold. I grabbed my winter gloves, which are waterproof, but it's quite an effort to get them on when your hands are already wet. That sorted and my hands now toasty and warm, it was back onto the road. I spotted an alternative to the main highway that would get me to the next town, so I took it as it was dirt, which would give me a break from just riding the highway. Rode into Raventhorpe. I got some fuel for the bike and myself, then hit the road again. It seemed the land here had been scorched by a recent fire. I took a left as I wanted to get back onto the coast. I found a place that you could camp on the beach, and it looked quite secluded. It was late afternoon when I finally got to the turn off onto the dirt road. It was about 20 k's further to the beach. The road was heavily corrugated, and there was still a bit of standing water left on the road from the rain. Then the road narrowed into a single lane. And then, with 10 kilometres still to go, this. Well, that sort of stopped progress. It's a river. Don't really have a plan B, so I guess I get out on the highway and see what I can find again. It's going to be dark pretty soon. Oh well. Well, that didn't work. Alright, going to get on with it because I don't want to be stuck out here. I made my way along the track. The sun was blinding, being so low as I rode directly into it. I should have taken more notice of the amount of standing water on the side of the roads in this area. Ah well. I came across the rest area, but it was full of water. So I decided to pull the pin on it and head to Albany and find somewhere to stay. rode into the night with the last rays of light. I then came across a car and decided to stick behind it for the rest of the way, hoping it might give me some protection if there were any animals on the road. I made it into town as the rain began to fall again. So I pulled into the nearest service station to find a place to stay. With no caravan parks answering the phones and the rain still falling, I got onto bookings.com and searched for the cheapest motel I could find. Well, that day didn't turn out as I expected. It's not often a road turns into a dirt road, turns into a trail, turns into a river. And there was still another 10 k's on that track, so it just would have been more of the same. I'd still be there now, trying to dig that bike out, or rescue that bike out of the water. Oh well, I just made Albany a little sooner and came into this fine establishment. Harks of the 70s. It will do. But I am closer to the west coast, which means I'm closer to the sun. I think I'll crash out and we'll deal with it all again tomorrow.